Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is episode 5 of the story The Boy from the Past, Unit 10 from our Syrian curriculum Passport to the World, Grade 8, presented to you by Elaf Private School. Because of the circumstances the whole world is undergoing, many countries in the world are on lockdown. Our country is one of those countries, and as a result, our dear school, as most other schools in the world, has had to close. But as I have taught you, we always try to find the bright side of every circumstance we are faced with. Let us focus on the positive and thank God for all we are grateful for in our situation. There are so many positive sides in the circumstances we are undergoing. First, we thank God that this virus doesn't affect someone your age. And we thank God that we are spending more time with our family, especially your fathers. You ought to thank God that you belong to a school that cares about your education. We thank God that you have access to the internet, where you can reach many resources that enable you to continue your academic learning smoothly and safely. And now we will start with Unit 10, Explorations. As we usually start our reading lessons, I will give you 2 minutes for silent reading. Please pause this video and start your silent reading. Okay, you're back. Are you done? Now we will begin with a revision of the whole story. Okay, as you remember, our story begins with Omar and Layla going to spend their summer vacation with Uncle Firas and Aunt Maryam in their house. Mazin, their gardener, finds two strange pieces or ancient pieces of stone in the well, with strange carvings on them. Layla, after taking the permission of her uncle, uses his computer to do some research to try and understand these marks on the two pieces of stone. After long research, she discovers that these marks are Phoenician letters. Aunt Maryam takes the two children to meet Professor Hussam, an old friend of the family. Professor Hussam, being a historian, was able to read the marks on the two pieces of stone. He tells them that these marks tell a story of a boy from the past named Amir. Amir Amir tells us that his father and family worked in trade. We travel to many countries and carry home precious objects of silver and gold. But there are also thieves in this world, and we must. But Layla and Umar, as well as Professor Hussam, are not able to continue the story of Amir. We don't know what Amir is saying he must do because the piece of stone is broken. The rest of the story is on a third piece of stone, which they haven't found in their well. Layla then receives an email from a stranger named Harry Dark, who is offering to give her more explanation about her Phoenician stones. And he asks to meet them. So Aunt Mariam, with the two children, accompanied by Professor Hussam, meet Harry Dark at a restaurant. Harry Dark shows great interest in buying the two pieces of Phoenician stone, but Aunt Mariam apologizes and says that she is planning, or they are planning, on giving these two pieces to the museum. After that meeting, where Harry Dark was greatly disappointed, Layla and Umar realize that there's someone watching their house. Again, on another night, they realize someone else also watching their house, especially at night. Then, one night, Umar is awakened by the noise of strangers downstairs in Uncle Firas's house. He looks out of his window in the bedroom on the upper level of the house, and he sees 3 men walking out of their garden. This is where we stopped last time. Now, I'm going to ask you to listen carefully to our new episode of today.
The Boy from the Past. Episode 5, Lila's Investigation. 1.
Omar stared at the empty cabinet. Everything was gone. He turned in despair to everybody in the room. But Lila didn't look worried.
Omar, the men haven't taken the Phoenician stones.
Yes, they have. Look. The stones can't be anywhere else.
Don't worry. I was worried about the thin man, so I put them back in the well.
In the well? That was a fantastic idea.
Hello? Is anybody there?
Yes, come in.
Uncle Firas explained about the break-in.
Who do you think did it?
Well, one of them was the thin man.
Who's that?
He's the man who was watching our house.
They didn't steal anything. So what did they want?
It must be somebody who's interested in our Phoenician carvings.
One of them must be Harry Dark.
The following morning, Lila turned on the computer and surfed the net. She was looking for a map. She was so involved in her research, she didn't talk to anybody. After an hour, she called out to Omar. Why do you think those men want our map?
It must be because it shows the location of something important.
Well, look at this map on the screen. It's the same as the one on the stone. It could be the same place.
Is it anywhere near here?
It's only 10 kilometers away. That evening, Omar, the professor, Uncle Firas, and Mazen drove to the location on the Phoenician map.
I think we're in the right place. Here's the cave and the hill, and the sea's over there.
Listen, the metal detector has found something.
Mazen, can you dig here, please?
Yes, of course.
What's that noise?
There's something hard under the earth.
It must be what we're looking for.
Okay, Now, after listening to the British version of the story, you have the option of listening to the American pronunciation of our story. So we're going to begin with episode 5, Layla's investigation. What's the meaning of the word investigation? First of all, before talking about the meaning, what part of speech is this word? It ends with tion. Remember words that end with shin, r? That's right, it's a noun. Okay, what's the meaning of the verb to investigate? Usually police and detectives like Conan, they do investigations. To investigate means to do research or to examine something very carefully in order to know the truth behind this thing. So in the dictionary, we find the meaning of investigation, the act of examination and research to find the truth about something. Now, Omar stared at the empty cabinet. Everything was gone. What do we mean by everything? We can see that there's a vase in the cabinet and there's something else still there in the cabinet. What does the writer mean by everything? I'm going to give you a second to think. That's right. He means the 2 Phoenician pieces. How about the word stared? What's the meaning of the word stared? Omar stared at the empty cabinet. What part of speech is the word stared? Absolutely, it's a verb in the past tense. But what's the meaning of the word stare? Stare means to look at something or someone with wide open eyes. He turned in despair to everybody in the room, but Layla didn't look worried. What's the meaning of despair? Despair is a new word to most of you. Well, despair means complete loss of hope. That means he had no hope in finding the Phoenician pieces. He was sure that the 3 men he saw from the window had taken the 2 pieces. Layla, Omar, the men haven't taken the Phoenician stones. Omar, yes, they have. Look, the stones can't be anywhere else. Layla, don't worry. I was worried about the thin man, so I put them back in the well. Remember, where did they find the 2 Phoenician pieces? Absolutely, they found them in the well. In the beginning of the story, Mazen found them in the well. So that gave Layla an idea to put them back into the well. Omar, in the well? That was a fantastic idea. Policeman, hello? Is anybody there? Uncle Firas, yes, come in. Uncle Firas explained about the break-in. This is a phrasal verb when we usually have a preposition that usually comes repeatedly with a verb. We call this a phrasal verb. What's the meaning of break-in? Remember now we said when we talked about the virus, we said a breakout. Breakout means spreading very fast. But what's the meaning of break-in? Break-in means to enter a building illegally, without the permission of the owner of this building or this house, by damaging a door or window, especially for the purpose of stealing something. So, Uncle Firas explained about the break-in. Policeman, who do you think did it? Omar, well, one of them was the thin man. Policeman, who's that? Layla, he's the man who was watching our house. Policeman, they didn't steal anything, so what did they want? Remember, we've explained the meaning of steal. It's not a new word, but I'd like to remind you of the meaning. I'm going to give you 1 second to think about it. Yes. Steal means to take something that doesn't belong to you. Something that belongs to someone else without the permission of that person. And when you take it, you're not planning to give it back. You're taking it for yourself, okay? Without intending to return it. Omar, it must be somebody who's interested in our Phoenician carvings. Layla, one of them must be Harry Dark. The following morning, Layla turned on the computer and surfed the net. What's the meaning of following? I think you know this word, right? Following means the next morning. So she was looking for a map. She was so involved in her research, she didn't talk to anybody. After an hour, she called out to Omar. Before we go down to what Layla said, if you remember in On Location, we took this word involved, and we even took the definition of the word involved. What's the meaning of involved? I'm going to give you a minute to think about it. What part of speech is involved? So, she was involved. It's not a verb, it's not a past verb, because it came after was. If it was a verb, it should have ing, because was is a verb to be. So involved is yes, correct. It's an adjective. What's the meaning of involved? She was so involved in her research. Well, involved means actively participating in something. So she was actually in the action of research. She was so busy in her research. She was taking part in the research that she didn't talk to anyone. When she talked to Omar. She called out, Omar, why do you think those men want our map? Omar, it must be because it shows the location of something important. Remember the meaning of location? Location means place. And again, location ends with the tion. That means it's a noun. Layla, well, look at this map on the screen. You see this map on the screen? It's the same as the one on the stone. It could be the same place. Omar, is it anywhere near here? Layla, it's only 10 kilometers away. That evening, Omar, the professor, Uncle Firas, and Mazen drove to the location on the Phoenician map. Omar, I think we're in the right place. What does right mean here? Yes, it's correct. Another meaning for right is the opposite of left. So what did Omar say? He went on, here's the cave. What's the meaning of cave? You know, on Friday we read the cave surah. Cave is a large hole or chamber in the side of a hill or mountain. So here's the cave and the hill. What's a hill? It's a small mountain. And the sea is over there. Professor, listen. The metal detector has found something. So what is the detector? You see this metal in their hand? Now, this is the shovel. See this? Mazen is holding it. It's a shovel. They're not going to let the professor dig. Uncle Firas asked Mazen to dig. But what is the professor holding? He's holding a detector, a metal detector. What is a detector? A detector is a an instrument or a tool, a device we use in order to find something. Remember when we were listening to the cassette, it went beep, 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 and he said, "What's there? What's that sound?" He said the detector must have found something metal. So what's the meaning of detector? Detector is a tool used to find the presence of a particular object. In this case, what is the object? It's a metal object. You see this box or this chest? The sides of it are all metal. That's what the device detected, and that's why it beeped. Listen, the metal detector has found something. Uncle Firas. Mazin, can you dig here, please? Yes, of course. Firas, what's that noise? Mazin, there's something hard under the earth. Professor, it must be what we're looking for. Okay, now I'm sure that you're very excited about the end of the story. And that's why next recording, inshallah, will be the final part of our story.